So you want to send out a market survey to find out if people might buy your new product, but you really don't know where to start or what questions to ask. Well, you're in luck. I got your back. I'm Kalilah Reynolds, and it's time for another episode of MoneyMovesJa, brought to you in partnership with EXIM Bank's Business Advisory Service, giving you the tools to grow your business. We have back with us this week CEO of Bluedot Data Intelligence, Larren Peart. Welcome back, Larren. Good to have you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
So the last time you were here, you spoke about market research and the importance of it, the benefits of it. Now, today, you're going to tell us how to conduct our own market survey, which is one type of research because there are several different types.
Sure.
But if I want to use the Google Forms, as you suggested in the last episode, how should I go about it?
Thanks. So just to back up a bit, so there's two methodologies primarily. So there's quantitative surveys, which is what you do on Google Forms, and then the qualitative, which allows you to to probe a little bit more, which is you sitting down and asking your friends, what do you think about this, or your customers, what do you think about this? So it's more, you get more qualitative data, and you get to drill down a little bit more when you do that type of qualitative type study. On the quant side, which is what you use when you want to get numbers, and if you wanted to know what your market share was, you would do quantitative to get hard figures. Like I suggested earlier, you can use Google Forms, or there's free tools like SurveyMonkey and SurveyGizmo, etc., that you can, once you sign up and you've figured out what your objectives are, which is important. So you have to figure out what it is that you want to find out, or as I like to say, what decisions do you need to make that you don't have the data for, or what keeps you up at night as an entrepreneur, right? So first, once you've identified what your objectives are, or i.e. what it is that you want to find out, then you build the questions around that. So it's always good to, of course, start off with demographic information. So you want, gender, age, sex, etc., as much of that information as possible, which will then allow you to target. Also, you want to collect some type of lifestyle or psychographic information. So to understand personality, and for psychographic, and then lifestyle would be, what do these people do on a daily basis? That type of information. And then you add your questions around specifically what your objectives are. So if you wanted, for example, to find out, would your customers buy this new product, then you build the questions around that, and don't ask, leading questions. Be very general about it. In research, we tend to ask, in order to arrive at one insight, we ask probably 3 questions around it, just to ensure that there's no bias or it's not being skewed or anything in terms of how we ask the questions. So in general,
can you give me an example of that? So 3 questions to gain 1 insight. So give me an example. How would I do that?
So if we want to figure out what your socioeconomic bracket is, we ask education. So what's your highest level of education? We ask where you live, and then a pointed question around your income. So instead of, a lot of the cases, we don't just ask income outright. So we ask age, as an example, can be used to determine socioeconomic status dependent on the scenario. Schooling, so education level, where you live, area you work. We might ask what you drive, if you do drive. So in order to determine just that one insight of, is this person somebody that's a good fit for an investment bank targeting, or is this person, somebody who is in a lower income demographic, as an example?
I see. That's very. So that's why I always ask you all these million questions before you actually start answering
Yeah, man.
what it is
Yeah,
that you sign up for the survey. All
right.
right.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm trying to get feedback on a book or a new
Hmm.
product. Let's say I've launched a new product and I want to get feedback from my customers about this new product. And my customers are part of my mailing list. I sent them an email and I want to know if they like the product. What types of questions should I ask?
Again, you could just ask outright, but you also outright, do you like this product? But you also want to understand the category. So, for example, if your product is in the book space, like you said, um, you want to understand what the consumption, what we would call consumption occasions, for those customers are. How often do they read books? Do they purchase books? Um, are they on Audible? Are they a audiobook type person? What is the average spend on books when they do buy? Frequency? Are they influenced by their parents or their peers to buy books? It can be a whole. I mean, just to arrive at that one insight or that one nugget, you could ask 20 questions, um, primarily around, just to arrive at that one question, one insight. Sorry.
Okay, so really, if I'm conducting research, I really need to sit down and plan
You
what
have to
I
think.
want to find out
Yes.
because I might be thinking, do you like this book? Yes or no? You're saying that's not the best approach.
No, because you want to build a profile. You want to understand the profile of your consumers first. You want to understand, um, deeply, or as much as possible, the type of books in this scenario that they read. How often do they read? Do they like how the pages are flipped? One thing comes to mind is, um, I think it was Danone. They produce yogurt, right? Danone, the yogurt maker, or you could use Yoplait, but one of them. They they thought it would have been very cool for them to change how the packaging of the yogurt was, and they removed the lid. They didn't have the lid on it anymore, and they lost, I think it was 40% of sales, because people like to lick
Like the
the
lid.
lid of the
Yeah.
yogurt. Exactly. So again,
I heard
market was.
another example too about Cheetos.
Yes,
The
so yeah,
Cheetos where people
right,
they made a version that doesn't stick to your fingers and
right.
people hated it because part
People
of the
hated it.
experience is licking your fingers.
Exactly, exactly. So we do actually a lot of our clients who are in that space. We do a lot of testing for them before launch, to understand, are people even going to like this? What is their behavior? Um do they add 2 pinches of salt? Like just everything completely. We follow people around, with permission, in supermarkets, just to understand, what do they pick up, what they don't pick up, what do they look at, how long do they spend looking at the prices, do they are they price sensitive, and then what is the profile of that consumer who is price sensitive, or are they just, what's the difference between the customer or the consumer? So again, understanding what that difference is. So customers, for example, um, would be if your mom buys you stocks, trying to keep it um, within this context. If your mother buys stocks for you, if your wife buys some stocks for you, then she's the customer, but you're actually the consumer. Or if your wife buys you some beer, she's the customer, but you're the consumer. And then how you market and target those two groups is completely different, because the motivation for your wife buying your beer is completely different from why you're drinking the beer. So understanding the dynamic between customer and consumer, and the consumption occasions and the frequency, and what motivates your wife to buy that for you, and all of that is, from market research, is important.
All right, so it sounds like there are a million different questions that you could ask people. But I don't know about you, but for me, if I'm taking a survey and I feel like, okay, the survey is too long now, they're asking me too much, I'm just going to abandon the survey. I can't bother answering any more
Mm.
questions. So, what's that sweet spot? What's the ideal number of questions that should be on a survey?
I'd say the sweet spot is no more than 20 questions and no more than a 5 minute survey. Of course, um, we're guilty of that at Bluedot. We have surveys that last pretty long because there's just so much to collect. But I think for an SME or small business, you can get away with 15 to 20 questions, and really get the information that you need. You can also incentivize the respondents. So um, you can give away phone cards, or you can give them some sort of discount on the exact product that you're trying to find out about, or some sort of promotion to incentivize them to just do this survey. Explain to them why it's important. Research is important. You're doing this research in order to help you to better target the products and services to them. That helps, that works in a lot of the cases when people understand the reason behind conducting the market research.
Well, thank you again, Lauren. You've given us a lot to work with. So we can now go out there and get our own surveys, conduct our own surveys. And then when the money turn up, then we will call Blue Dot.
So actually, we're actually we've brought the cost of surveys down significantly at Blue Dot because of our use
Yay.
of technology. So you can do surveys now for as little as $150,000 or less, which coming from $1 million, $2 million is a big discount. So, but we're flexible. Anybody out there, just give us a call, talk to us, find us on social media.
What are your numbers and email?
Right. So my email is the.at bluedotinsights.com, but we're on all social media platforms at bluedotinsights. So BLUEDOTINSIGHTS.
Thank you once again,
Thank you
Lauren.
so
Always
much.
a
I
pleasure.
appreciate it. Yeah, man. Thank you so much.
And now, here's a recap of some of Larren's key points. Gathering data such as your consumer's age, location, and income can help with product marketing. Try not to use more than 20 questions in your survey. It shouldn't take more than 5 minutes to complete your survey. So now that you know how to do it, what surveys are you going to send out next? Comment below. That's it for this episode of Money Moves JA, brought to you in partnership with EXIM Bank's Business Advisory Service, giving you the tools to grow your business. Visit their website at eximbankja.com and visit my website, KalilahReynolds.com, for a summary of this episode. You can click the link in the description box below. I'm Kalilah Reynolds. Until next time.
Let's get this money.